Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark, and I have another tag video for you today. I'll try and keep it shorter than the last one. I was very kindly tagged back at the beginning of December by Daniel at Guilty Feet. It was very nice of him. Sorry it's taken me a while to get to it, but I'm working my way through them slowly. This is the ratings and reviews tag, and it was originally created by Nell and Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. I will leave, of course, relevant links and things down below. So let's get cracking. Number one, tag folks. Well, I don't really know who's done it, but I'm not gonna take the easy way. Excuse me, take the easy way out today and just tag people who are watching it. I will just list a few people, and if they want to do it, they can do it if they haven't done it already. First, I'll tag Summer at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats, Vin at Revenant Reads, MJ at Reading This Life, Erin Facer, Sina at Beating About the Books, Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, and Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. You're tagged if you would like to do it. Of course, anybody else can do it as well who's watching this. And as usual, there's absolutely no pressure to do it. I'm not going to mind, if you don't, because I do understand that a few of you have a lot on at the moment. So, number two, how do you know you've just finished a good book? Is it a thinking or a feeling response? For me, I would say it's a bit of both. Certainly, if I'm still thinking about the book after putting it down for the last time, then there's something about it, and generally it's a book then that I would say that was good, because I suppose it could be bad as well, really, couldn't it? That it sticks in your mind. But I don't really waste time thinking too much about things that I didn't like. So generally, in my case, if I'm still thinking about it, then it would have been something I enjoyed. And also, yeah, it's a feeling, if I have that kind of nice, warm, fuzzy feeling, or feeling of being well satisfied, I suppose, then it's also something that lets me know that I've read a good book. Number three, when you begin to form your review or rating, what is the first question you ask yourself? I suppose the first thing is maybe, did I enjoy it, really? It's important to me to have to enjoy the book if I'm going to rate it. I mean, the difficulty with especially writing reviews, I think, is I'm very unlikely to do that these days, usually because of time. Just for a book that is that we can consider middling. I'm more likely, I guess, like a lot of people, like if you're writing a review about anything, you're more likely to do it if it exceeded your expectations and it was amazing, or if it was terrible. So I think in the middle way, it's harder to do that. But I think it's, did I enjoy the book, or how well written was it? That's something that's important to me. Number four, do you do star ratings? Why or why not? I do, but I only do that on Goodreads. I am far too kind, I think, when it comes to, I think part of the reason is I feel really guilty giving anything below 3 stars. Even then, sometimes I'm reluctant to give 3 stars, even if it should have been a 3-star book. So you have to take my star ratings on Goodreads a little bit with a pinch of salt. I mean, everything on there, pretty much, I'm very lucky, works out as something I enjoy, whether that's because I pick things that I know pretty much are going to be my cup of tea, and therefore they get a fairly positive rating. But I feel guilty. I feel guilty because, the author generally would have put in a lot of work, and who am I to come along and say, oh, this is rubbish? Unless it really is, unless it's obviously rubbish. But sometimes I might just leave it unrated if it's that bad. I think, it's the old adage, isn't it? If you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. If it was really atrocious, then I might give it 1 star. But, I know the authors generally probably don't look, especially if it's someone well known, but I would actually hate to make somebody feel bad about it. But it's more really for my reference that if I've given it 3 stars and above, then it's probably something that I would return to. Not always, but at least something I would maybe look out again in the future. Right, next. Do you believe every book has its perfect reader? Does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? I think there's some truth to that. I mean, we all like different types of books, different genres. I mean, there's a lot of books that I just probably wouldn't even touch that have, that are really highly thought of and well praised, universally praised. So yeah, I wouldn't be the reader for that. And if it was, I don't know, some kind of Mills and Boon romance maybe that a lot of people really love, I'm probably not going to like it. So therefore, I know it sounds horrible to say that without even giving it a go, but I know after 40 years, I know myself quite well, that, what's the point of, I think, reading something I know I'm not going to enjoy and then very likely give it a negative review or a negative rating. So yeah, I do think there is certainly an element of every book has every book has its own audience, doesn't it? And not every, it's very hard to find a book that absolutely across all genres, everything is going to be really universally loved. Number 6, what book that you hated have you recommended? Yeah, this was a difficult one. I can't really think of any particular book that I've absolutely hated. And certainly I wouldn't have wasted time carrying on with that book to the point where I could, really make a recommendation that I would have got far enough into it. I mean, I can be quite quick to judge unless somebody says to me, look, Mark, give this book 100 pages for sure. It will, it'd be great. I can usually tell fairly early on if it's something that I'm going to enjoy or not. And, I've got so much to read. What's the point in slogging through something that, is just not your cup of tea? So really, I can't think of anything that I hated that I recommended. There might be, of course, things that weren't that great, but then a friend of mine I don't know if it's something historical, maybe I know that they particularly like this period in history, whereas for me it wasn't amazing, but it might be their cup of tea. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that in this video. So I'll say, hey, why don't you check this out? Wasn't my thing, but you might enjoy it. So yeah. Number 7, what makes a book good, bad, or great by your evaluation? Well, it has to be a combination of things, doesn't it? And on an elementary level, it is definitely the writing plays a part for me. The editing plays a part for me as well. I hate books that are really poorly edited, and it can spoil the experience for me. Poor research is something that will definitely score negative points for me. And then it can just be really little things. I mentioned in my coming up in 2022 video about this tiny thing to do with how titles are used, in medieval England or whatever. And it's such a small thing, but it bothered me. It really bothered me. And still gave the book, I think, 4 stars in Goodreads, because it was a great story and it was well researched, apart from this one bizarre thing about how she used the titles, which, it's such a shame. It's such a shame, because it could have been, most people probably think, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't know, to me it matters. People who know me will tell you I just kind of grasp sometimes these really petty things sometimes, and it drives me mad. So definitely to be for me to evaluate a book, I take those things into consideration. Number 8, when evaluating the quality of a book, do you have specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider? Does this change if you're writing an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book for enjoyment? Maybe I've answered question 7 wrong, but it's a little bit similar, perhaps. So, as Prime Minister would say, I'll refer you all to the answer I gave previously. Number 9. Do you consider star ratings or average ratings when choosing books to read or add to your TBR? I'm sorry to say I do. Perhaps that's not right in some ways, but I would imagine it's very common. Excuse me, sorry. Oh dear, I've got to stop making these videos around 4 o'clock. It's tea time. I think I do. I have a cutoff point. I mean, around 3.6. 3.6 on Goodreads is my cutoff point. Occasionally I've gone to 3.5. If it's something by an author that I like and I've read a lot of their work and they've scored a very poor rating below that, I would still maybe give it a go, because I have previous experience of that author, so I might give that a go. But generally, it's around 3.6. If it's under 3.6, I won't put it on my to read list, and I won't read it, unless somebody says to me, Mark, this is absolutely your kind of thing, don't worry about the negative reviews, read it, it's right up your street, you'll enjoy it, then I will take, obviously, somebody's recommendation there. Number 10, who on BookTube does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you can use to decide if a book is for you or not? What makes their reviews so good? This is a really difficult one to answer, because I never like naming specific channels, because there's so many wonderful people out there, and I hate to leave anybody off that. Maybe it's a bit of a cop-out, that answer, but I really do. Let's just say that there's obviously certain people who I interact with on BookTube, and I interact with them more than others for the reason that we have similar interests. So therefore I take a lot of what they recommend maybe more seriously than some others, because of course I know this person's reading something that we're quite similar, so I would probably enjoy it as well, and I can learn to their recommendation has maybe more weight than certain other people. But I'm on here because I want to read, so I will take any recommendation seriously, really. If someone's passionate enough about it, all I have to, I'll watch them, see what they say about the book, and depending on, if it's something I really want to read and they rubbish it, then I might kind of ignore it and still read it anyway. But I do like to see what what people do have to say about books. But I can't think of specific, or if I can, I'm not going to say specific channels that I take maybe more seriously than others when it comes to reliability of book recommendations. Number 11. Does that or those booktubers use different languages than you to evaluate and review the overall quality of a book? Yeah, there are a couple I watch who do use different languages. I've watched a few reviews in German, in Swedish, you know, and that's it maybe actually. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting question that actually. I don't watch too much booktube that's not in English. Yeah, I don't. So anyway, right. That's enough rambling for me for now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again, Daniel, for tagging me. It's very, very kind of you, and wonderful to hear from you. It's been a while, as you said yourself in that in your own video. And yeah, thanks again, everybody. Take care. All the best. Bye for now.